Hello, welcome again to Ace Attorney. We are here again in this forsaken land to prove someone else, innocence. Dude, I can't believe that I didn't wait all cool and collected Adrian Andres. She's your manager, it would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted a blood-covered bottle in your hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake you up, right? Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yeah, she is the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Corrida. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time the trial's over. I'll be alright, I'll get you acquitted by the end of the day. Today, get me a birdie that's refreshing like spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer, dude? Phoenix, you think her motive is related for Celeste Impact's missing suicide notes, right? Yep. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impacts as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. It sounded like she left a suicide note and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder, and that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida. But to get the suicide note back, that sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? But it stated Miss Andrews' dependency issue with regards to Miss Impacts. It was Edward. Sorry, what? Looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. Yeah, did Edward realize before us? Excruciating pain, as usual. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Miss Edward, if you please. The prosecution calls the witness subpoenate? But he's called. Miss Andrews, the person who discovered the crime, is Mr. Juan Corrida's room. Weird ass accent. What is your occupation? I am the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Engard. I see, now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Oh yes, sure, what is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. Oh, no, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossip Land. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd hold my words for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relationship with the victim. To the victim. With or to? Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. And so it was a fry and bait matter. Or was the bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. What? But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who will beg to differ. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well, then, witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there is his dead body. I was shocked. I was in shock. Sorry. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. You pour yourself a glass of juice? Yes, sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix, she's one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontation. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expected it. This time you let up your offenses the instant this trial is over. Understand? Mia, wow. The judge of character, I guess. Girls are scary. You were in shock. What? What was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person, despite how close they were. I thought she had a romantic feelings for Mr. Corrida. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body will be in shock. As you can seriously expect a young beauty like her will not be shocked. Somehow I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. Okay, I see. Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terrible great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, would you like to confirm it one more time? When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock. And that's when you pour yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was complete blank at the time. Your mind was complete blank. Didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today, my boy? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was this she started to say just now? But yes? Miss Anders. I'm convinced that as you say, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so I will die. I'm sorry, I'm just the kind of embarrassing. When I went and set the glass down on the dresser. Jesus. Is that what I think it is? Sorry. I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. There was a huge, humongous insect on my microphone. Flower vase, are you talking about the one on the double of a crime photo? Jesus, you made a mess. This mess of glass shards? I was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it, my elbow fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry, I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people will simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. Well, it looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. Okay, I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I would like to present the Takisa case. Objection! The reason why this was wet, but someone opened it. It was open, right? Testify that you knocked the flower case vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure you fell on the guitar case? Is there some problem with that? What I said? It's not. What? It lagged a lot. It's not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Sanders, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, right? However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's very true. Okay. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is it? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are shattered on the floor. And what is wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shard should be inside, not outside the case. Ugh. No objection. What is your point, right? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over. Is that all? No, I think back of what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say that I didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be, however. The empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to the case, doesn't it? It seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? Make her testify. The empty guitar case. I believe it is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for stores like this, but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Why? I feel like there was like something about this case. I cannot recall. Alright, I'll follow along for now. Jeez. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. I think it was something related... It was something there, I don't know what. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. Why? Why would you do that? It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. And so why open a case, even I don't know. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it is almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Could it be that she was looking for the suicide note? Because she believed that he's probably, you know, carrying it. Using it anyway to change the topic of a convenient escape for a weak man. Ouch. There's no way you were one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar are those of the victim. Why she's... Okay, what is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed out for the occasion. Yes, and now I remember. I'm also sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, my Mr. Wright, it seemed the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. That's strange. You were wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that will prove that I was not wearing it? The wine glass? It's kind of laggy, I'm sorry. Have your proof right here, this wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange? That you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Wait, did she broke her own glasses? Oh. Okay. Order, order! Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. On the head? Is it? What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. But it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty though. There was something else in it, probably. But the guitar, the bright red guitar, was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all your presumption. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was bright white guitar? Wait, what? That's not right either. There must be something else, I don't know what. I mean, it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the victim was not wearing gloves despite the fact that one on the case. Your Honor, this is possibly the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into his misguided. No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. Okay, we can agree with that. But what was in it? However, if it was wide open, this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case was some relation to the murder. You're sure, right? Then I'm sure you can somehow sustain your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us to why the guitar case was anything to all to do with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not only the thing that could have been that in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing? What? So, you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty. Is that it, right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours, you haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case of the time of the murder? I don't know! I don't fucking know! Oh, damn. This is a photograph. Yes, but what is important is what is in that picture, Yona. In this picture? It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is. Inside the car case with the Nika Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out of the costume? What insane point will there be doing something like that? This insane point will be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see your leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just inside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for this scoop. And then she managed to get this shot, correct? You mean this photo? Yes, this photo. There's only one. Order! It looks like we're wandering to acquire another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy, speak first, think later. Yeah, speak first, think later. So the real murder was hiding inside a costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nika Samurai costume would have been Mr. Matt and guards. Why will something of the defenders be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places? True, there's a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nika Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? I don't know. Mr. Gar did not take this costume off during the break period, so it must be a spare. In that case, the costume we are talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nika Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Indeed. Yes, that is what I'm saying. How do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself brought his pairs to the ceremony on purpose. But why? The victim, Miss Corrida, was the jamming ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nika Samurai spare costume with him? What could the be reason behind such peculiar act? And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? No, I just, Miss Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had Nika Samurai's spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? More or less? I think carefully before you answer. And then answer with gusto. Gusto? I believe in you. Mia, please. That'll help me. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nika Samurai spare costume at the hotel was to about a confession that he wanted to make. If you recall, our fellow Engard didn't have any collection or recollection of confessing something. So what is this? On the night of the murder after the stage show, the Nika Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. Okay. Press conference? Yes, the Nika Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about these as well for once. You're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Engard himself said that he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it can mean only one thing: the conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. The victim? Yes. The spare Nika Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold press conference as the Nika Samurai. He was going to dress up as the Nika Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I'm concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at the conference. The Nika Samurai was going to confess something, right? Yeah. And by confess, I wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Yep. Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the Nika Samurai, was going to speak about Matt and God. Yes, I guess that is what I will mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that is a public disclosure. Miss Andrews, I can see why you are pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Miss Andrews, please offer an explanation for this. I was the one who asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the jamming ninja he say. Here, if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had his hands a secret so powerful that he will destroy Matt's acting career that had been revealed. What? Do you know what the secret of Mr. God is, Miss Sanders? That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Protect Mr. God? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Were you? Were you protecting? But the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what, and he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the bottle and the knife, but I'm Matt manager, so I felt I had to protect him. So, what do you do? Nothing? This doesn't account for everything. Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She's more nervous than a scary rabbit. If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright. Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means that I have to put my weight into these and to turn her logic upside down. Oh my god. Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Ark. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit a crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you do think these 3 things true, the answer becomes quite clear. Sorry? And if you think these 3 things true, the answer becomes quite clear. Okay. You should have already know that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that us in school, at least. Not from what I remember. Might continue now. Oh, well. Has to kill John, no matter what. You didn't have to alibi. My thoughts, the feel, but evidence. You can hardly call a knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Camouflage. And what about the button? The button? You came from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought, and during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the jammy ninja costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the bleeds of Matt Hakama, isn't that correct? Well, indeed, that makes it very decisive evidence. Like you were outboxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove anything. Please fix your testimony. You can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. What? Thank God Mia still look at me. Can still look at me. With a nice stare, yes. Mia, please. Yes, Sanders. For Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. So, if you read the testimony, sorry, the quote. No. He was strangled. This victim autopsy report is clear that states that the cause of death was strangulation by a skull. Strangulation? The knife stab at the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence this button has the victim blood on it, which could mean that it was ripped off of the costume when... after the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means... it is impossible that this button was turned off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Sanders. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does it change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Archer. Why was the button turned off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not turned off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with his button? What was it? To pin the crime on Engard. There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Engard. There's no way anyone would put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right, Mr. Engard was set up. By the real killer, of course. nonetheless. And the real murder is, well, Mr. Wright, who is the word into the mirror color then? Finally, I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet, not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Miss Sengard is... Wait, her, right? Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you! I choose you! Pikachu! Yeah, Mr. Gorilla Killer. Killer. What? Order, Mr. Wright! These are very grave matter. Do you have any evidence to support your charge? Any evidence? All of the evidence point to Miss Andrews. What? How preposterous! You can't think any of that on me? I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been struggled to death. It was used to draw suspicion on Mr. Gard, naturally. A knife covering the defense's fingerprint could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's Hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. God was the real killer, there is no way he would have not put such incriminating evidence on his own Hakama. The person who could have put his bottle into Mr. God's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the guitar case? There is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. Miss Andrews. The costume was used to hide the real killer's identity, as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been a person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found in the guitar case. It was you proof that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right. That's because she did not intend of leaving any prints. If anyone was found out that she had touched the case, they could have her ask her why. To avoid leaving any prints, she used the towel as something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, he was the classic day's discoverer of a dead body. And to top all of all, there is this photo. A photo of the killer as they exit the sign of the crime. No reasonable person can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Gard. He will be much too short for his own costume if he wasn't. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short stature, are you not? Please stop! Well, how about this, Miss Andrews? I got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? What was that? There's a law. I say I can't be forced to testify about something. If I can the fifth amendment? Well, yes, you are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with avoid self-incrimination, allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back yesterday in Miss Sengard's room. Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just did. Think hard about what we just discussed, understood? Alright. What? That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews not to testify if things look bad. You did a good job, proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there is still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What is so humorous, Mr. Andrews? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews, did in fact harbor wish to murder Miss Akurita. Miss Andrews, you want to kill Mr. Corrida? Did you want to kill her? I believe this may lead to incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it will be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, maybe not. There is nothing to prove either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I will be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow we landed into the worst possible situation. I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point of time. Miss Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense theory that she is at the act of murder has not been fully sustained with solid definitive proof. But that's not true. In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess. Recess? Request that both prosecution and the defense look further into this matter, and that at tomorrow's trial. Tomorrow's trial? We don't have tomorrow. We're gonna get a guilty verdict today, don't we? Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial, please continue to trial. What you're sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That is not it. This isn't about that. Edward, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya. But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this is cool. It is not possible for this trial to continue. Miss Edward, what are you? It's true, Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incriminating. However, if the topic of a conversation were something related to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that is very true, but actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, how you found the victim's dead body? You pour yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they're shaken up or stirring a glass of... not stirring a glass of juice. So why action were unusual, but already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your action, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when Tavis discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in T's testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what is it about Edward today, but I can't get a good read of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. Friend or foe? The court acknowledged the prosecution request. Miss Andrews, if you please. Oh, Jesus Christ. The glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in the messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking at the court. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. So you poured a glass of juice for the victim? Why didn't you say in your early testimony? I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edward, what the heck is going on with that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. There wasn't anyone else in the room, right? Of course not. Then who did you pour it for? Mr. Wright, there is a rhyme, the reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you? Well, in other words, Wright, be quiet and listen. Precisely, I could have said better myself. So it was a mess. Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Corrida? Oh, sorry. Before you're accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. And then, what did you see next, witness? Oh. Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. It's just me, or did the writer sound a little odd? Then what did cross your mind? I thought maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. And I felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought. I see. So you think he was dead at all? So you didn't think he was dead at all? To be honest, okay. So you thought he fainted? I thought he was asleep at first, but then the room was such a messy state. I thought maybe he had got into a fire or something. That's when you went to pour a glass of juice? Yes, he always has a hard time waking up. So Juan always has a glass of tomato juice to drink. I see. After that, what happened next? And how did you come to realize that he was in fact dead? I shook him over and over, but never got a response. He was not breathing. So I set the glass down, dressed, and tried to take these pills. And I was shocked and stuck it backward. And knocked the flower vase over. That's what happened. Yes. This is what they call comes down. This is the absolute end of both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now, is our best chance yet to kill the prosecution case. Isn't that a bit harsh? Miss Andrews, will you tell us the truth this time? Objection! So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? Nope, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body. Sorry. What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Yona? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Garrida's chest. Anyone who saw this scene will have immediately thought they were a dead man. That's well, you see. Not a single person in the world will mistake for someone who fainted. And so naturally go pour something to drink. Your point is... Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all gone one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly. That you are the real killer. No. Sorry, my throat hurts. Looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Art Engard, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible, you're wrong. Miss Andrews tried to have some composure. It wasn't me, I told you. It was Matt, I swear, he's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so, what was that you might end up incriminating yourself? That's because, Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. And there is no need for this court to continue any further. Miss Mattengard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about this, it's the first time someone hasn't. No, then I would like to hand down my verdict for Mitt and God. Objection! Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it will be premature to pass down verdict at this time. What? The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth. Really? The absolute real truth? What are you? Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Madagascar will go free and in his place. You will become the guilty party. That's it. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke then it will be all over and Matt will never be declared guilty. What in the world is he talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Francisca von Kama. Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly on the words of another. Because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews. Yesterday she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Kama. Don't say a word, or no matter what happens. If you do, Matt and God will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now. Is he clinging on to them? I feel like she's lesbian, right? Then what should we do? This is the first time I ever come across anything like this. Now remember, was that exposed afterwards? But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is to get our not guilty. That is my only priority. It was me, I'm begging you. Please believe me, I didn't kill Juan. Help, please, someone help me. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? The court can't continue on like this, therefore I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What I'm supposed to do? What I'm supposed to do? Right, I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about this witness did and what she did not do. And think about how the real mastermind behind this crime. It's a real mastermind, is that obvious? Therefore no one else could be expected a woman crying over there, right? Come on, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Was not guilty. Was Andrews to testify? I don't know what requests an old guilty verdict. No matter what she said, Miss Andrews is the only person could be. Not to mention, I don't have a choice. I have to win a complete acquittal today. Your Honor, defense believes there is enough evidence to sustain our claim. Therefore, we motion that this court passes the verdict of not guilty as soon as possible. I'm disappointing you, right? What have you learned this past year? That's enough. I commend you to for trying, Miss Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense theory is the truth. You're wrong. What a shame. Had hoped things wouldn't come to this, however. Well, this is it, Miss Edgeworth. Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulder to disclose this to the court. Stop. Miss Edgeworth! What? This witness? How should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she had tried to commit suicide in the past. Oh, please stop. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempt suicide report. What will you do, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Attorney Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about this scares her more than anything else in the world. Please stop! I beg you, I hope people find out. If people find out, If you're going to say you wouldn't choose that, if you're going to say you would choose that, that is not concern. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips, no matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Here is fine with me. I'll talk, but please help me. My God, plan. Okay. Nothing matters anymore. My cry. When I first saw him, I really thought he was faint and honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in that hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then I stabbed Juan that body with a knife and ripped off the bottom. Because when I finished and I was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume. Stabbed the body with a knife? But why would you do that? Isn't that obvious, to pin the blame on a certain person? A certain cowardly man? What do you mean by all this? I might take this code a little while to understand, but... This is the truth. The real killer is Matt, the scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time? So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do this with the murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt Engard for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be a real killer? Miss Wright, please get over your shock and commence your cross-examination. Oh. But you could tell from the state of the room was in, there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you didn't know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck, but that scarf is a part of Jamie Ninja costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought that I waking up and went pour the juice. When I realized... okay. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murder was Matt. I knew because Juan, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence to pin this crime on Matt. So the forged piece of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came in mind was to blind the knife. That's what you could get knife, alright? What? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if you use it, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume at that time. I slipped in, took the knife and returned to the scene of the crime. And then blah, blah, blah. So you were the one to stab the victim with that knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. By the time I couldn't control my own body, move on its own. Then when I stabbed Juan that body, I suddenly realized something. If I used buttons, I could make the man look even more suspect. So you told her to rip one of the buttons and planted it to the Engard's hakama. Yes, that's what I planned to do, but things never go smoothly, do they? an inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera already loitering in the halfway. And willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun that's already pacing back and forth. Jesus, that's me so bad for you. I had already been cocked and made into a biscuit for a certain wicked tabloid once, but I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why, You were the one who prepared the costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studio. I also put it in Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear the costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's biggest secret. What is this secret about? That I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if we were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. I think we heard enough. So after that, you went back to Mr. God's room and planted the bottom. Into Makama? Yes. After I folded up costume, was wearing up and put it in a bag, then I snuck it out to the hotel and got rid of it. My word, what does it all mean? Miss Edward, is it? The real criminal is Matt and God. Yesterday, the woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Francisca, huh? She said I should, under no circumstances, confess all what I've done. What if I just keep quiet and Matt will be found guilty for sure? I had no choice but to believe in her words. What is witness was done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she's not the real killer. Wait, Your Honor. The defense still... Right? It's pointless. At this point in time, it's not possible to indict Miss Sanders on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that point to her as a murder. A cross-examination of the witness is over, and so is today's trial. So couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. But... Miss Edward, please place Miss Sanders under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That is all. Court is adjourned for today. No. Today's trial is over, and I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I ask you something? Edward. What is it? Before you leave your court today, I wonder if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand, it had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this is? Mr. Wright also asked me about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found his card when discovered one body. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body. I suppose I must have cautiously slipped into my pocket. But it's not as if the card had any relevance to Juana's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card if you ask me. As far as a clue to this case, I don't see why... Witness! That card! Give it to me! Hurry! Edward? Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This... I can't believe this from me all this time. I didn't mean to. What is that all about? I've never seen Edward so emotional before. That card, what in words is it? What does it mean? And this is the end of the episode for today. Ladies and gentlemen, goodbye. Ladies and gentlemen, that's goodbye. It's getting spicier now. Boys, what will happen to Maya? You'll know in the next episode. Goodbye.